Today, I want to discuss realtors. They're going to kill me. They're after me already. If you're a realtor, learn from 2008 again, which I'm sure of most of them don't really understand. A lot of realtors, in being very ignorant, keep sellers or selling agents humble. So now off to selling agents. I think realtors, good realtors should love a buyer's market, even though they're freaking out right now that the market is slowing down. But a buyer's market is really good for agents because it's essentially equivalent of the bear market, where now you don't have this crazy buy cycles and a lot of people buying. Everyone wants to be a real estate agent. Everyone gets their license, and it's a hustler's industry. It's not an industry that's based on expertise really or your understanding of the market. But bigger hustlers win. So when it comes to the bull market, everyone's buying houses. Sellers have a lot of leverage. So if you have access to sellers, you have access to wealth. But in a buyer's market, a lot of these incompetent, shady, terrible agents can't survive because sellers are looking for quality. Sellers are looking for marketing. What is it that differentiates you from other agents now? If the market is hot and it's a seller's market, your property gets sold anyway. Maybe they're thinking about FISBO. Maybe they're just like, oh, we're going to look at price now, because agents shouldn't compete on price. Your commission shouldn't be the only determining factor. But a lot of agents say, hey, I'm going to sell your houses for 2% because they don't care. They're not going to use marketing expenses, nothing. All they have to do is put it on MLS and by the next day it's gone. So they'd rather take that hit because it's easier to sell a house, which is just not good for the market, not good for good agents. So by having a buyer's market, you have this scenario where actually agents have to be competent and have to understand property marketing as well. How do we market it? What kind of pictures that we take? We have to work to sell this house, that's how it should be. So it's good for agents as well. Again, competition becomes more fierce. You don't have too many people making too much money that they don't deserve to make. You actually have to work for it, and that's something that I appreciate. Another one is that making a market, that individual market or our national market, easier to live in. If you have the buyers and investors buying these properties at a low price, at a good price, where cap rates are high, cash on cash is high, IRR is high, maybe ROI, annual return, any metric that you use is good enough for you at buy, there's no need to suddenly dramatically increase rent, and you don't have tenants who suddenly get hit with year-to-year rent increases by 40%, 50%. This is insane. Inflation is high right now, but how much do you think an average American worker gets a raise per year? 1%? 2%, 3%. And if you increase the rents as we see right now by 40%, because investors bought their property at the height of the market, what they did was, in order to catch up, unreasonably they increased the rents because they have to make positive cash flow on these properties they bought with a premium price tag. So now the tenants have to pay for it, and now you have an issue where there's affordable housing problem. Maybe government needs to be involved in that, and you don't want that. So in a buyer's market, you don't have that problem because investors have the leverage a little bit to buy properties that financially work for them, and that keeps the rental levels good, and that area becomes a more modest area for housing and helps the tenants as well. And lastly, what it does is remedies the issue we have with the first-time home buyers. For 2022, based on the NAR survey we discussed in the previous video, we saw that majority of the homes being purchased are by families who make 100,000 or more, and that's very unacceptable. The median income is 50,000 per year, so for most families they can't purchase homes, and the government allegedly did a lot to incentivize home buying for Americans. But what it actually did is that it tipped the scale and made the rich richer by having those high income folks coming in, and basically they paid too much for their houses as well, but enabled them to buy houses in this market and left a lot of buyers in the dust. So when you have a buyer's market, the buyer's market is great for first-time home buyers because they can look at it and say, well, the prices work for us. Now we have more options. We can search homes that are livable, that are within our budget. We don't have to overextend ourselves to purchase a property, so we can do that, and more Americans become homeowners. But what the compilation of the market, the government, everything, what it's done is actually creating a tenant underclass for Americans who don't make 100,000 or more because they don't have the money to purchase these houses at these crazy prices, so they go and rent. Well, the problem is buying a house comes with a lot of upfront costs. You have to have a lot of down payment. You have to pay for closing costs, which nobody's talking about. So it's a lot of money. It's not as easy as renewing your lease or moving to a new apartment. So a lot of those folks can't buy, and you have private equity buying up houses. You have FOMO with a lot of first-time home buyers who can't afford it. So the last thing is that obviously agents are as most industries, they're being short-sighted per usual and saying, well, the market is not slowing down, the market is not bad, please, please, please keep buying houses right now. They don't understand that with having a buyer's market, instead of all of you agents in the same market chasing sellers, because for buyers it's so frustrating and often impossible to buy houses, now the addressable market for you opens up. Now with more confidence, you can go and represent buyers as much as sellers. You can go ahead and be confident that, hey, I'm representing this buyer, they have the pre-approval, they have some cash in the bank, they can pay for down payment. I'm not worried about the crazy market that you have to put in 20-30 different offers. And I feel you, I write offers all the time, and it's very time consuming and it's very difficult, and it's a legal contract, so the stress of it, having attention of it, you want it to mount to something when you write a contract. So you don't have that issue in a buyer's market. You can represent all your buyers, and you can take on more buyers of different classes, different annual incomes, and you go ahead and represent them, and you can make money from them, meaning when the purchase is done, you get the share of the commission from the seller's agent, and it helps you as well. So now you have this situation where a lot of agents are chasing listings. I can't believe how much money some of these agents make, and myself, I get postcards every day now from like 20 different agents saying, oh, I want to sell your house, I want to sell your house. Well, this is desperation, because those agents are opportunistic. Obviously, they're like, well, there's no buyers, we don't care for buyers because they can't buy a house anyway in a seller's market, so let's just focus on listings. And it's really bad for agents as well. So you would want a buyer's market, because agents on the sell side have to put some work in, have to be competent, and if you're a selling specialist, well, if you're a specialist in that area, you can have more customers, and you can represent buyers from all walks of life, different annual incomes, different purchase capabilities, and you'll be successful. So one big tip to my agents: don't be short-sighted to think that, oh, market is hot, therefore this is good for us. No, in a buyer's market is slower, you have less transactions per month, but the addressable market increases. So sometimes there's a equilibrium with that. And again, it's the gravy train has left the station. Obviously, you have agents who would make a lot of money, they did robust marketing, they closed a lot of transactions, they want the market to stay the way it is, because why don't you? Seller's dream, they go and sell their services, and usually they have a good reach on the community, and then they go ahead and close these deals. But now they have to work, they have to actually do what is required of a real estate agent, which is marketing a property, making sure that it reaches the right buyers, following up on showings, instead of having things handed to them. So I think that the agents who are freaking out, I hate that too, because as I said, agents compensation is messed up in this industry, and it's just absolutely terrible, because agents need to be compensated for their expertise, for consultation and other avenues. When it comes to a buyer's agent, you're just getting a percentage commission share from the seller's agent. So in reality, only the seller's agent makes money in commission. And with the NAR ruling, and that, yeah, they have to share a certain percentage with you. What's the percentage? Well, who knows? But what it is that sometimes I've seen 2%. Really, 2% of the purchase price for doing most of the work in this market. You probably are in this market, a lot of you agents who wrote hundreds of contracts and got paid like 2% of the purchase price of a $200,000 house, and that's not good. Again, the mentality that a lot of agents have is, oh, that's fine, we're just okay with that, at least we're making money. You have to be tough, you have to work hard, but is that efficiency of your work is at all-time low, and you would want a market that's balanced. So at least that if you're getting percentage of the commission share from the seller's agent and nothing for your time, for your consultation or anything, at least you want a market that actually helps you make enough money for the work that you do, and you shouldn't take that. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening. I know at the end we kind of got a little preachy at times, and I think that with my last point, especially with agents, some of the things I said is not necessarily market tested. Just by speaking to agents, hearing their frustrations and some of the unfortunate consequences of this market, I felt the need to say what I said about the agents and the agent compensation. I think agents deserve to be recognized and compensated for their expertise. The process of making every industry into this rat race where financial advisors on the finance side and real estate agents on the real estate industry going ahead and chasing clients and customers and close a deal in order for the real estate overlords like Realogies of the world, all these real estate companies that are making a ton of money, essentially just providing a support role, is heartbreaking. But the trend of taking advantage of workers on the front lines has been one of the biggest and most common used practices in economy. So this is not going away, but I think that a buyer's market can help alleviate some of that. But as always, thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in similar videos where I rant and rave about our market and just voice my opinion, you can comment below, tell me what topics you want me to discuss about more. I made a video on state of the housing market and why the housing market turned to be the way it is from an economics and finance standpoint. You can watch it here. And also, if you're a business owner and want to know more about your finances and gain some finance education, quantitative finance education that is very simple and can help your business grow, watch this playlist and comment down below if there's any specific topics you want me to talk about. But I wish you prosperity, wealth, and health. And until next time, keep learning.